We're going to go into one of the worst geopolitical and socioeconomic declines in modern history. I mean, look what just happened. I mean, it's summertime in the Northern Hemisphere, and the living is easy. The people don't have a clue what's going on. Oh, Fitch downgraded U.S. credit rating? Oh, what's a Fitch? Oh, Moody's downgraded how many banks? One after another? Look at all the banks that have been downgraded in the last 2 weeks. All the news is about Trump, or the big storm that's going to hit California. So when you're saying where's this thing going, we are going to see a banking crisis, the likes of which we've never seen before. But don't worry about it. The bigs will get bigger. Hey, the UBS got bigger when Credit Suisse swished out. JP Morgan, we got a deal over there for the Silicon Valley Bank. So we are in for a terrible time.
On this episode of What the Finance podcast, I have the pleasure of hosting Gerald Celente, who's the founder and director of the Trends Research Institute and publisher of the Trends Journal. Gerald has a 40-year track record of identifying, tracking, and forecasting trends. So thanks so much for coming on the podcast today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
No problem. And I'm really looking forward to our conversation because I guess there's definitely a lot happening in the world at the moment. And if we look at the sentiment, end of last year, it was quite negative. But this year, last 6 months, it's been quite positive. People have thought that the Fed have been able, maybe they've done the impossible and they've landed the economy and everything's going to be okay moving forward. Do you agree with that, thought, or do you have other thoughts of what's really happening?
No, we're going to go into one of the worst geopolitical and socioeconomic declines in modern history. I mean, look what just happened. I mean, it's summertime in the Northern Hemisphere, and the living is easy. The people don't have a clue what's going on. Oh, Fitch downgraded U.S. credit rating? Oh, what's a Fitch? Oh, Moody's downgraded how many banks? One after another? Look at all the banks that have been downgraded in the last 2 weeks. All the news is about Trump, or the big storm that's going to hit California. People don't have a clue what's going on. All right. This is from Bloomberg, Wednesday, August 23rd. Landlords with $1 trillion of debt face rising default risks. About $1.2 trillion of debt on U.S. commercial real estate is potentially troubled, end quote, because of its highly leveraged and property values are falling, according to Newsmark Group, Inc. Oh, well, Newsmark Group, Inc. said this. We've only been warning about this for 3 years when the little political clowns in a country near you locked down everything and people started working from home. And we said remote work is going to be real and there's not going to be a return to the offices as it was prior to the COVID war in 2019. Screw you, Celente. What the hell do you know? It'll come back. Remember that crap spewing out of the people's mouths? It's not coming back. You ready? Bloomberg. Offices are the biggest near-term problem, accounting for more than half of the $626 billion of at-risk debt that is set to mature by the end of 2025. Oh, you mean you ignored our top trend office building bust that we've been saying about for how long? Since March of 2020 when this happened? This thing, how are they going to pay? We're talking about the banking crisis. Oh, no, I forgot. When Signature Bank and Silicon Valley Bank went bust, Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan Chase, the JP Morgan Chase convicted of 5 felonies. There's no banking crisis. Screw you. You don't know what you're talking about. There's no banking crisis. I'm the top bankster. Oh, when we go bust, we're too big to fail. Oh, they only pumped in 29 trillion with a T from 2007 to 2010, the central banks, because the banks were too big to fail. Oh, that's not my numbers. That's from the Levy Institute at Bard College. So when you're saying where's this thing going, we are going to see a banking crisis, the likes of which we've never seen before. But don't worry about it. The bigs will get bigger. Hey, the UBS got bigger when, when Credit Suisse switched out. JP Morgan, we got a deal over there for the Silicon Valley Bank. So we are in for a terrible time. And then you look at the data. Europe is in a recession, basically. You're in the UK? How about I put an F, a U, and a C and a K? Yeah. Because of the clown boy. Little jerk. The best cartoonist in the world could not come out with a arrogant, creepier clown than Boris Johnson. Hey, everybody lock down while I party and tell you to go screw yourself. And now you got that Sudak down there, another millionaire, billionaire boy. One jerk after another destroying your economy in a country near you. So this thing's going to go down big. Inflation isn't going away. Oh, the numbers aren't as high. Hey, the prices didn't go down that much. They're still way up there. In the USSA, the average price of the median price of a home is $410,000, while your median household income is about $72,000. Who can afford it? All the people who become plantation workers of Slavelandia. When I was a young guy, there were things called grocery stores and hardware stores and stationery stores and grocery stores. Now they're all chains. The chains own everything. Every time I go into a Hannaford's or Lowe's, my heart breaks because I know the people working there have no future. This is better than the plantation system because back then you had to house them and feed them. Now you just give them enough money. Get out of here, come back tomorrow. Amazon truck driver, isn't that great? So this thing's serious.
And why? How do you think it's got into this way? I know you've talked previously about, I guess, the Great Recession, and then how that could potentially be a collapse. But then obviously the Fed came and threw out QE. Is this just a case that these higher ups will do whatever they can to continue to keep the system going and continue the wealth divide, or what has caused this situation?
You're 100%. They'll do anything they can. Again, as I said, I thought everything would crash in 2012. In 2012, they didn't teach me about quantitative easing or zero interest rate policy in Economics 101 in graduate school. They'll make up any shit that they want to keep enriching the rich. Oh, the COVID war, the billionaires, according to Oxfam, got $27 trillion richer. $27 trillion richer. I read this article yesterday, Cuban. What you need to do to become rich. Things you need to know about becoming rich. Buffett. Here's the way you become. How about these billionaires saying, this is what we have to do to improve society? This is what we have. We have so much money. We have to do things so that the people we could grow a middle class and bring more prosperity, joy, and spiritual awakening to the society. Screw you. And the hell with peace, not a penny for peace. I launched Occupy Peace. I have peace rallies. Don't get a penny from the rich. Nothing.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's not going to things going to be
They're
very
going to
bad
make up
moving
some,
forward.
they're going to make up something to solve this. They'll dump more money in, they'll lower interest rates. And when interest rates go down, by the way, in the United States, gold is going to skyrocket. The only reason gold numbers aren't high is because the dollar is strong. And now you see the BRIC meeting going on. All talking about de-dollarization. Most of the world has had enough of the United States military and economic hegemony. They're finished with it. So why are we buying products from each other in dollars? Who made this crap up? Oh, they made it up after World War II, the Bretton Woods. So that's what's going to happen. When the interest rates go down, this thing collapses. But they'll do anything to drive the markets up. Now, here's what's important. Money's pouring out of the equity markets because of the high interest rates. You're getting 5% in, money markets and treasuries, 5.5. Why should I gamble in the markets? So they keep interest rates up. Markets are going to go down heavy. So we're forecasting the markets are going to go down heavy in late September, late September, October. Again, it could change because when the Feds meet in late September, if they say they're going to lower interest rates, the markets are going to go back up. If they hold them where they are or raise them 25 basis points, this thing goes down. And if they lower them, gold prices shoot up.
So it's interesting. So you think if they lower them, both equities and gold are going to sort of shoot up a similar
Yeah, they'll both
time?
go up.
Yeah. And is that because there's going to be the risk of further inflation in the future, almost like we've topped and then there'll be another double top in the coming years, or will that just be more a loss of faith in the US dollar and maybe the US institutions?
Well, if they raise interest rates, it'll be stronger for the dollar. If they lower them, the dollar goes down, gold goes up, but the gamblers they'll say interest rates will keep going down, so we'll keep gambling. It's a gambling game. That's all it is. They call it investors. They're not investing. They're gamblers. So they'll gamble that interest rates will keep going down. Look, that's what's the global economy should have crashed when they locked everything down basically in April of 2020. And then the governments pumped in countless trillions of dollars to artificially prop it up. In the EU, they kept interest rates down in negative territory. In the United States, they brought them to zero. You had merger and acquisition in 2021 hit an all-time high. And now there's hardly any going on, but it's very important. They're still going on because now companies are going down and the bigs are buying out the ones that are going down. So it's a different M&A activity. So this thing should have crashed. I never thought housing prices would have gone up in 2020. I had no idea. I thought they would have gone down. But I had no idea, again, just like I didn't know about quantitative easing, I had no idea that they would pump in countless trillions of dollars of fake money and zero interest rate policy. And now you have your mortgage rate in the United States, it's going up near 7.5%. And housing prices are still high. Matter of fact, they went up in July. The reason being supply and demand. You don't have a lot of supply, and you got like a 3-month supply, and the people aren't going to sell their houses because they got to pay so much to get a new mortgage. So prices in housing aren't going to go down that much, even when this thing goes down. I mean, when there's a collapse, they'll go way down. But the biggest bust is going to be in the office buildings. This is huge. You're in the UK? How about a place called Canary Wharf? Who exited there a couple of weeks ago? Oh, HSBC? Yeah, the whole place is emptying out. Your office occupancy rate in the United States, occupancy rate of the 10 largest cities, according to Castle Systems with a K, 50%. I mentioned that Bloomberg article. They go on to say that, there's a number here, that, I gave it to you. Over leveraged owners are often motivated to stop payments, then sink money into buildings with diminished prospects for returns. Blackstone Inc., Brookfield Corp., and Goldman Sachs Group Inc. are among investors that have defaulted or relinquished offices to lenders this year. Isn't that great? That's just the beginning.
Yeah. So what is that catalyst? Do you know, or is it just it's gonna be something that they create, or is it gonna be debt? We see banking at the start of the year that looked like things were gonna go down, and they sort of created a new mechanism that saved the banks. Will it
They
be
only can do
the
so much. They
commercial?
only can do so much with this one, because the other thing is people say they're going to convert the buildings into housing. No, you're not. Again, according to the data, office buildings built within the last 50 years are non-convertible, because these are just big empty spaces, steel ugly crap with glass. Back in the day, they had rooms. So they're too expensive to convert them. So on the office building bust, it's going to bring back down the banks. Small and medium-sized banks are the ones that are going to be hit the hardest, because they have the most loans in this. And there's no getting out of that. There's no getting out of it. Again, you look at the vacancy rate. The vacancy rate in places like San Francisco, vacant, almost 30%. In the 10 largest cities, New York, 20%. Vacant. Vacant. So this thing is going to, there's no way around it.
Yeah. So moving forward, as you said, you said I think September, October, potentially early next year is when we see, the potential for further market volatility, potentially downwards. Would you see that sort of permeating throughout the economy then as well? So, unemployment to increase, I guess consumption to go down, potential risk in the real estate, as you mentioned there. Do you sort of see that happening as well, or is this more going to be a market move?
No. Every week in our Trends Journal magazine, and by the way, there's no magazine in the world like it. If you could show me one, let me see it, where we provide in-depth socioeconomic and geopolitical trends analysis and trend forecasts and what in the world is going on. So we give you, these are the facts. This is our analysis, and here's where we see it going. So where we see this going, and is that, again, they're going to do everything they can to prop it up. They won't be able to. And a bad situation is going to get much worse. So looking at the trend forecasting and putting it into perspective, they're going to lower interest rates in the United States definitely in 2024, because you have a presidential election coming up. And they always lower interest rates in the run-up to the election. Each week in our Trends Journal, we list the job cuts. This week was our 52nd week of doing it. The job cuts around the world from big companies. We also have a section called store closings. Yeah. The whole system has changed. The COVID war has changed society like nothing in my lifetime. Like nothing. Nightlife is dead. Nightlife, where I am up in Kingston, New York, which is the first capital of New York State, 90 miles north of New York City, place used to be booming before the COVID war. At night, 9 o'clock at night, dead. Excuse me. Top restaurants stop serving at 9 and 9:30 at night. The whole psychology has changed. The whole psychology has changed. So we're going to see high unemployment, rise in crime. Again, going back, we'd forecast this. When people lose everything and have nothing left to lose, they lose it. Talking about San Francisco. The geeks were the first ones to lock down. That guy with the beard, Dorsey, supposed to go to South Africa in February 2020, canceled his trip, told all the TikTok workers, that's now X, stay home, don't come to work. Then Facebook, Google, one after another followed. Now, it's the doom loop in San Francisco. Once big and small businesses are closing down day after day, week after week because of crime. 50 guys coming in, robbing everything from Nordstrom's that they can. That did not exist before the COVID war. Didn't happen. Suicide rates, drug addiction, skyrocketing. Didn't exist before the COVID war like these numbers. The damage it's done, it's destroyed the lives and livelihoods of billions of people across the globe. Now let's go back to the big picture. Who started the COVID war? China. Launched it on Chinese Lunar New Year, January 2020. The year of the rat. I used to be on Hong Kong TV in 2019. And we take a break and there were riots, protests going on in Hong Kong continually against the Chinese takeover. They didn't want to be led by Beijing. I'd say to the guy, Frank, so what's going on? Mr. Celente, we're not going to stop. We're not going to be defeated. Hong Kong, a city of 7.5 million people, over 1 million were taking to the streets. They launched the COVID war, China, in Yuan. Can't protest anymore. Passed the emergency law, ended it. One of our top trends for 2020, we do them in December for the year coming, was New World Disorder. Not only were there protests going on in Hong Kong, they were going on in France with the yellow vests, in Lebanon, in Algeria, in South Africa, in Brazil, not Brazil, in Chile, in Bolivia, in Peru. They were going on all around the world. COVID came. You can't go out to the street, India. You can't go out into the street. Get back in your house. So China used the COVID war. Now let's look what China did. 3 years of zero COVID policy. My forecast, the Trends Journal, was, and you go to trendsjournal.com, and it's only $2.86 a week, a crappy cup of coffee a week. There's no magazine like it. If you don't like it, it's 30-day money-back guarantee. We had said the 21st century would be the Chinese century because the business of China has been business. The business of America has been war. Not anymore. What China did with 3 years of COVID lockdown, they've destroyed their economy. They've destroyed the lives and livelihoods of hundreds of millions. It's not coming back. And now, with NATO, the American allies putting more and more sanctions on Russia, and more manufacturing jobs leaving there, this thing's going to go down. And you don't want the Chinese economy to go down because it was on the road to becoming the #1 economy. It's #2 now. So all of you Europeans that were selling, and Americans that are selling all these products in China and making all this dough, ain't happening no more. Whole thing is changing. So as China goes down, so too will the world. China destroyed itself.
Yeah, I guess if we look at the growth over the past 20 years, majority of that has come from China, global growth. So if they're not growing, where does it come from next?
And again, we write about it in detail. There's a whole section in this week's Trends Journal, spotlight on China's decline. All the reasons why. I mean, and we also give AI a whole section on that, a whole section on technocracy and special guest writers. But going back to China, And what they did, this is all self-imposed. And that's what people need to know, that your governments are destroying your lives and they're making up crap to do it.
So you say that sort of China's collapse is self-imposed. Is that the same for the US and Europe?
Of course. I look at the little freaks you got running the show. Who's your favorite freak? What freak do you look up to? It's a freak show in front of everybody's eyes. Oh, who's your head of the ECB? Christine Lagarde? Oh, where'd she come from? The International Mafia Federation? No, Monetary Fund. I forgot. Before that, there's no inflation. Celente, you're in the Trends Journal. You're all full of crap. There's no inflation. How about in the United States? Powell? Jerome Powell, the head of the Fed head? There's no inflation, Celente. It's only temporary. And then it was transitory. They didn't start raising interest rates in Europe until July of last year. In the United States until March of last year. You should have been raising them a bit while this was going on, and you wouldn't have this crisis now. And then again, there's the Ukraine war. The more the United States and NATO ramp it up, the sanctions they put on Russia are only hurting the people.
Yeah, so we've touched on quite a few topics globally. I guess for the next rest of 2023 and even maybe going to 2024, what are the key trends that you're watching? Are there any other trends that we haven't touched on, or is it mainly the stuff that we've
Now, those are the
touched on?
major ones. The Ukraine war is big, and the economy. Those are your two things. And what people are tuned out of that really need to know what's going on is more about the Middle East. One of our trends is Middle East meltdown. What you have going on in Israel with Netanyahu's judiciary laws that have people taking to the streets, for months. And one of my sayings is, when all else fails, they take you to war. There's a civil war going on, not my language, but coming out from people in Israel. So to get the people's minds off the civil war, they'll go to war with either Lebanon, more war. Israel will go with more wars to Lebanon, Syria. And if they have a military conflict with Iran, there'll be a crisis the likes of which we've never seen. Oil prices will go above $130 a barrel, and that will immediately crash equities and economies around the world. So watch closely what's going on in Israel. We cover this in our geopolitical sections each week.
Yeah, scary to think, as you said, both Iran and Israel are going through turmoil. So I guess it sort of makes sense that they, as you said, they'll do what they can to keep power, which could be war between them both themselves.
Yep. And the United States and Israel are working together to, saying that what they'll do to attack Iran. And as me as an American, it's none of my business. That's really, it's like this has been going on. It's none of my business. Yeah. Like none of my business was going on in Ukraine. Once upon a time, there's a guy by the name of George Washington who would be turning in his grave that they named the crime syndicate Washington, D.C. And if anybody has the brains enough to read his farewell address, this is a general who fought for America's freedom, not like these little clown boys, and he became president, the little presidents that couldn't fight their way out of a paper bag that we got running the show now. His farewell address: do not become involved in any foreign entanglements, particularly in Europe, because basically these conflicts have been going on for centuries, and we're not going to fix it.
It's very true. So is there a way to avoid this?
Yes,
Yes.
one way, and that's for the people to unite under one banner for peace. Other than that, I don't see it happening. Look what's just going on in Italy, this baloney Maloney over there, full of baloney Maloney. She sold herself as a right winger. Boop, choom, dumped right into the system. Right into the system. Love that Ukraine war, baloney Maloney. Go fight there. All you little clown boys and girls that support the war, go fight, put on your drag military costume, send your money or shut your mouth. Look at that guy Stoltenberg. What an arrogant clown. That's the NATO chief over there. Go fight over there, fat mouth. Baerbock, whatever her name is over there in Germany, a little warmonger. We got Victoria Nuland, the warmonger here. Oh, if only women were in charge. What a bunch of crap that is. Like Hillary Clinton, Madeleine Albright. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Margaret Thatcher. We're going to get those Argentinians, yeah. What a bunch. I'm tired of this race, creed, and color crap. Good and bad comes in all of them. Save it. So I'm concerned mostly about war. North Korea's warning, the defense minister came out, again, it's in our magazine. They came out last week that it's only a matter of when there'll be a nuclear war, not if. And Russia's been warning the same thing. We have a nuclear war, bend over and kiss your ass goodbye. It's the end of life on Earth. Oh, we got a shelter. We're in a bomb shelter. Oh, great. You'll have a lovely time coming out of the bomb shelter. A life will be just gorgeous.
So following on from that, the potential for conflict, because yeah, unfortunately, I don't see there being everyone coming together under peace. Do you see there being a high risk of a China-Taiwan conflict, and then the US being involved as well?
There's no way the US is going to be involved. They're all full of crap. The United States hasn't won a war since World War II. Couldn't win in Afghanistan. How bad could you be? Lost in Iraq. Did a great job in Vietnam. Only killed 3.5 million people and lost. They got a bunch of clowns running the show. No, it'll be a nuclear annihilation. That's all. And then there's going to be, again, the whole world, all the agencies. Taiwan's not a separate country. It's a part of China. Well, that's all the data shows that. Wait a minute, it goes back to the Ming Dynasty. I mean, when China became independent, when Taiwan became independent, when I was a kid, they called it Formosa. When Chiang Kai-shek was thrown out of China and the communists took over, and they went over there. That's not my business. I'm an American. But anyway, if they go to war, it'll be the end of life on Earth. If the United States and NATO become involved in it, it'll be a nuclear war. It's the cover of this week's magazine, Trends Journal. Worried about climate change? Don't worry about it. Nuclear war is coming. Don't worry about climate change.
Which all the politicians seem to be more hawkish and hawkish every single election period. But if we look at all this, it seems like it's quite doom and gloom. We've talked about how we think US, China, Europe are going to struggle economically in the future. Are there any parts of the world that you think will potentially thrive?
Yeah, I think you're going to start seeing more countries in South America thrive. And not in Africa. There's too much corruption going on there. And but they're going to do everything they can going into Africa and colonizing again by stealing all their minerals for climate change issues, stupid batteries. You know when the battery was invented? 1800. Instead of putting the trillions of dollars into warfare, how about putting it into research to come out with a real, alternative energy? So anyway, again, what everybody has to do, as I see it, get the best shape you can, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, because you're in the fight for your life. And I launched a movement called Occupy Peace. And if we go to occupypeace.com, if we all unite for peace, we could have it. Because when you go to these politicians and you call them out man to man, you win. Because they're not men. They're little clowns. They're little nothing boys. The same with the girls. So we have to unite for peace. If we don't, I see, Not a very pleasant future. And with peace, by the way, comes prosperity. Rather than spending and wasting your money and dumping it into war in the military industrial complex. America's infrastructure is third world. Take the subway in New York as a night in Calcutta. It's a joke. So thank you very much. I appreciate being on, and I appreciate all you do.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Is there a message you'd like people to take away from our conversation?
Well, yeah, the message is get in the best shape you can, physically,
Yeah.
emotionally, and spiritually, and you better do something to fight for the kind of world that you want. And by the way, this is one of our shirts that they could get at trendsjournal.com. Could you read that?
Yeah. I agree.
And here's the back.
I'll tell you what to do and then not do it themselves.
And that's what the people have to do. These guys are public servants. We pay them. I was the assistant to the Secretary of the New York State Senate at 26 years old. I worked on major political campaigns, taught American politics and campaign technology, how to run campaigns at St. John's University in New York. I go on with story after story, picking up Reagan at the Chicago Hilton and putting on a brunch with 16 of our board of directors when I was 30 years old. On and on. I've been with princes. We met that guy, Clown Major, you had over there as the prime minister when I was a keynote speaker for USA Today back in the 90s. With the Prince of Norway. I've been there. I know what the game is. We're in charge, not them. And that's what we have to get out of their minds. We tell you what to do. You don't tell us what to do. And then people have to unite to do that. So get your shirt, donate to Occupy Peace, or donate to anything. And where are all the religions? Where they got lockjaw? How come they're not coming out for peace? Where are the Episcopalians, the Baptists, the Seventh-day Adventists waiting for the eighth day? The Quakers died in an earthquake? Where are they? Where are the Catholics? Where are the Jews? Where are the Muslims? How come they're not taking the streets of peace? Again, with peace comes prosperity. End of story. So thank you again.
No, thank you. I think that's a great message to leave with. So, Gerald, thanks so much for your time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening. And if you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe and click the bell icon so you are notified when new podcasts are released. I hope you're leaving with some great value about investing, trading, and finance. See you on the next show.